Most gardeners think composting is simple. Just throw organic scraps into a pile, wait a while, and eventually you get black gold for the garden. But the truth is, one wrong ingredient can completely change what's happening inside that pile. Instead of creating healthy living compost, you can end up growing harmful bacteria, spreading plant diseases, attracting rats, poisoning your soil, or killing the very microbes and worms you were trying to encourage. And the frustrating part is that some of the worst compost ingredients are things people constantly tell beginners are safe. Today we're going through the materials experienced gardeners, composters, and soil scientists consistently warn against putting into home compost systems, and why these mistakes can quietly damage your garden for months or even years. Before we jump into the list, it's important to understand something most beginner composters never hear. Composting is not just rotting material. Healthy composting is actually a controlled biological process driven by billions of aerobic microorganisms. Those microbes need oxygen, moisture, carbon, nitrogen, and proper temperatures to work efficiently. When the balance is right, your pile heats up, materials break down properly, and beneficial organisms multiply. But when the balance is wrong, the pile can become anaerobic. That means low oxygen conditions take over. Instead of healthy decomposition, you start producing foul smells, harmful compounds, and conditions that favor pathogens and pests. And here's another major issue. Most backyard compost piles never get hot enough long enough to safely neutralize dangerous materials. A proper hot compost pile may reach temperatures between 131 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit, but many home piles stay far below that range. That means certain weed seeds, diseases, parasites, and chemicals can survive the composting process and end up right back in your garden beds. So let's start with one of the biggest mistakes. Meat, grease, dairy products, oils, and fatty foods are some of the worst things you can add to a typical backyard compost pile. The problem isn't just smell, although the smell can become terrible very quickly. As proteins and fats decompose, they often create anaerobic conditions that produce sulfur compounds and ammonia odors. That rotten smell many people associate with bad compost usually comes from this exact process. These materials also attract raccoons, rats, mice, flies, and other scavengers. Many experienced gardeners have stories about waking up to compost bins ripped apart overnight because meat scraps were buried inside. Now technically, industrial composting facilities can process meat and dairy safely because they carefully control temperature, oxygen, and moisture levels. But most backyard systems simply aren't designed for that. For the average home gardener, it's much safer to keep meat, grease, butter, oils, and dairy products completely out of the pile. Next is pet waste. Dog feces, cat feces, and used cat litter should never go into compost intended for food gardens. Carnivore waste can contain dangerous pathogens including E. coli, salmonella, roundworms, giardia, and toxoplasmosis organisms. And unlike manure from herbivores like rabbits, cows, or horses, pet waste carries a much higher disease risk for humans. One of the biggest misconceptions in gardening is that all poop becomes compost eventually. Scientifically, that's true. Safely? That's a completely different question. Most home compost piles do not reliably sterilize dangerous pathogens found in pet waste. And if contaminated compost ends up around vegetables, especially root crops or leafy greens, you may unknowingly expose yourself and your family to serious health risks. Now let's talk about diseased plants. This one surprises a lot of people. Many gardeners assume composting automatically destroys plant diseases. Unfortunately, that is often not true in home systems. If you add tomato plants infected with blight, powdery mildew-covered leaves, rust diseases, black spot rose foliage, or fungal infections, there's a very real chance those pathogens survive the composting process. And next season, when you spread that compost around your garden, you may actually be spreading disease back into healthy beds. Experienced gardeners learn this lesson the hard way. A pile may look fully decomposed on the surface, but unless the entire pile reached sustained high temperatures, disease organisms can survive deep inside cooler areas. This is especially important for tomato diseases like fusarium, verticillium, and early blight, which can persist in organic matter and soil. If a plant is heavily infected, many gardeners prefer to dispose of it separately rather than risk contaminating future compost. Now let's move to weeds. And not just weeds. Weeds that have already gone to seed. Dandelions with fluffy seed heads, mature crabgrass, bindweed, creeping Charlie, and nut sedge are some of the biggest offenders. Many weed seeds are incredibly resilient. Some can survive years in soil waiting for the right conditions to germinate. And again, if your pile never reaches sustained sterilizing temperatures, you may accidentally create what gardeners jokingly call weed compost. You spread beautiful finished compost around your raised beds, and suddenly thousands of weeds appear everywhere. Some invasive weeds are even worse because tiny root fragments can regrow into entirely new plants. Bindweed and nut sedge are notorious for this. Many experienced composters either solarize invasive weeds, dry them completely before disposal, or simply keep them out of the pile entirely. Now here's one many people never hear about: black walnut leaves, hulls, and wood materials. Black walnut trees contain a natural chemical called juglone. This compound is allelopathic, meaning it suppresses the growth of certain nearby plants. Tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, and apples are especially sensitive. Some studies suggest properly aged compost containing small amounts of walnut material may eventually become safe. But the problem is consistency. And many gardeners report mysterious wilting, yellowing, or stunted vegetable plants after using compost heavily loaded with black walnut debris. For most gardeners, the safest approach is simply avoiding large quantities of black walnut material in compost altogether. Another no-no are chemically treated grass clippings, hay, straw, and contaminated manure. Some herbicides used on lawns, hayfields, and pastures are incredibly persistent. That means contaminated hay fed to horses can pass through manure, enter compost piles, and later damage garden crops. The symptoms often look bizarre: twisted tomato leaves, curled bean plants, distorted peppers, stunted potatoes, and many gardeners spend months trying to diagnose diseases or nutrient problems without realizing the compost itself is contaminated. One of the biggest lessons experienced gardeners learn is this: just because something looks organic does not mean it's safe. Unknown hay, unknown straw, sprayed lawn clippings, and questionable manure sources can become major risks in compost systems. Now let's talk about paper products and compostable items. A lot of products today are marketed as biodegradable or compostable, but many of them only break down properly under industrial composting conditions with high heat and specialized processing. Plastic-lined coffee cups, glossy cardboard, heavily inked paper products, compostable utensils, and bioplastics often remain partially intact in home compost systems. Many gardeners eventually discover plastic fragments, sticky coatings, or strange residue months later in finished compost. Safer choices include plain brown cardboard, untreated paper, shredded leaves, and natural untreated materials. And finally, let's cover a few gray area materials people constantly ask about. Citrus peels are usually fine in moderation, although excessive amounts may temporarily slow worm bins. Onions and garlic can also be composted in small quantities, but too much may discourage worms. Bread and pasta break down quickly, but often attract pests and mold if overused. Wood ash should only be added lightly because excessive amounts can dramatically raise soil pH. Untreated sawdust can work well as a carbon source, but it requires additional nitrogen to balance decomposition. And dryer lint is often filled with synthetic fibers that may not belong in compost at all. Over time, most experienced composters simplify their systems. They stop trying to compost every possible thing and focus on materials that consistently create safe, healthy compost. Vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, leaves, cardboard, garden trimmings, straw. Simple inputs usually create the best results. And one of the best rules in composting is also one of the simplest. When in doubt, leave it out. Good compost can completely transform a garden. It improves soil structure, water retention, microbial life, and long-term plant health. But bad compost can quietly introduce disease, chemicals, weeds, and contamination directly into the place you grow your food. The best composters are not the people throwing the most things into a pile. What's the worst thing you ever accidentally added to compost? Let everyone know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to The Wormy Garden for more science-backed gardening, composting, and soil-building content designed to help you grow healthier plants naturally.